What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Vault. It's your boy Smalls with Thoughts from the Bench. The Vault is the weekly show where we take a look back at some of the best and worst sports jerseys of all time. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, the funniest guy on the internet. Simple facts at this point. Benny, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good, brother. Glad to be back. How are you doing?
Killing it. I feel like I'm killing it, but probably not. Honestly, this week kind of sucked, but it's fine. It's fine because again, the show is gonna look a little different tonight. We have actually I have a whole intro written down, and I want to go through it, but like,
do it.
You heard his voice.
That was me. Do it.
The man who needs no introduction unless you have no fucking clue who it is. The fearless leader of Thoughts from the Bench, the founder, the biggest baseball guy on earth, was nearly a fantasy football professor at a community college, and also a national champion goalkeeper, Mr. Deke Whiten. Buddy.
I forgot about the college thing until right now. That's funny.
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Good, boys. How we doing? I also, when you said simple facts for Ben, I thought you were going to say Simple Jack. And I was like, oh, that's a pretty good description of the guy. But simple facts, funniest guys I know. Boys, I'm excited to be here and happy to be part of the show.
Oh, man, I might have to cut that one out. Starting off early. But, Deke, it is great to have you on.
Good to be here, boys.
I mean, we tried to have you on, but I guess you were off at some wedding or something.
Yeah,
we're just not important.
It's tough when there's a whole day dedicated to you as the best man. Everything else was kind of
dedicated to you. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, well, I mean, but like, does it count 100% because you were in the dirtiest city on the planet?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It does still count. It does still count. Okay. See, I didn't know. No, I was just asking for purposes
research and development
of not having. Yeah, exactly. Because I don't have the experience of being in the dirtiest city of all time, saying that there's a day dedicated to me there. Backstory: I have a deep hatred for Philly, so that's it.
Everyone does. But
did you enjoy your time at least in the dirtiest city in America?
It was in the burbs. I went into a Wawa. I told a Wawa employee that their job was not as cool as Sheetz. So we did okay.
That's even better.
Yeah, dude, Wawa kind of slaps though. I'm not gonna lie.
They had
shut the chicken
and
rice
Wawa kind of slaps.
Sheetz doesn't have chicken and rice bowls.
Sheetz doesn't? Yeah.
They don't have chicken and rice bowls. There was like beans and chicken and spinach and everything. I was eating a chicken and rice bowl.
Because Sheetz is telling you to make that shit at home. It's chicken and rice.
There was spinach and cheese.
I'll tell you what. I know Wawa doesn't have a fucking Big Moz. I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah, but they have the Pilgrim though.
All right, well, the Pilgrim can get back on the Mayflower and go fuck itself. I don't care about Wawa. Sheetz for life. Fuck Philly.
And that's why he's my co-host. Deke,
so many gang signs.
Deke, it is good to have you on though. Like I said, it's been a long time coming. I mean, you were there from like the very start of the Vault whenever it was just like a blog. So like I feel like you've been kind of part of this from the start. I know at one point you were kind of pushing me into, not pushing me, but like you were trying to.
I was picking you up and throwing you off the ledge. I knew you could eventually get to something like this. I mean, so I don't know if you know Ben, but Smalls is the first person to ever send in a resume for Thoughts from the Bench.
Yeah. You've told me that several times.
Good. I'm going to keep saying it until I die.
So, well, hey, Deke, just kind of like we did with Will before, I want to lob you a few softball interview questions before we start the show. I only have two for you. The first one is, honestly, what was like the origin for you, or what was the spark that made you want to create Thoughts from the Bench? Like, why did you, and then did you think that it would get to the point that you have now where you have multiple shows, you have multiple writers, and for it to get to the platform it's at now?
Yeah, no, it's like a super kind of traditional story in a way, but I obviously I lived downtown for years and I worked at an agency out of college, advertising, and I met Josh Elsess at that job. And Josh hated me originally, and him and I worked together for a little bit, and basically we went through our different growing pains, and I left agency world and went to do sales at a company that I did enjoy. And but I remember it was like in December, Josh called me. He was like, yo, we got to talk. So I met him at Six Pen where I used to work. And he told me that him and his wife at the time were doing some more freelance work, and he told her that he wanted to bring me on as, you know, creative and account running. And I basically told him, I was like, I want to do something in sports. So we kind of had this thing where, like, I was going with him on the business side of things. He was going to come with me and help with sports stuff. And then it turned into, I started a blog the next day and wrote a bunch of articles. And then Greg Malik and I had been friends since college. So I was like, Greg, I want to do a podcast. But at the time, I wanted to do a podcast by myself. And I was like, Greg, I really want to get to a point where, like, I'm having guests on. I wanted it to be very aligned with Coward's show, the Dan Patrick show. And Greg was like, I'll come over every Thursday after work, because he worked downtown. And he's like, we'll practice. And it got to the point where, like, Greg and I just started going, and I was like, it's really dumb of me to ever assume I will do this with anybody but Greg. So for a while we did a blog and just one podcast, and it was just audio. And then obviously we did YouTube content, which was wrestling based, which a lot of people don't know. And I think you guys might know the history of that part, but we very close to being just a wrestling company. It was me and then 6 wrestling content creators. Which was hysterical to me, but then that ended up falling, and it did reoccur in the wrestling league. But the one consistent thing has always been the blog and the podcast, which we turned into a live show on Twitch first, and then Facebook, and now back to Twitch. But through the development of it all, I realized that 2 things very quickly came about. One, in today's world, it's kind of an interesting concept that I didn't realize the term for it until this year. But there's no such thing as a gatekeeper anymore. So, you know, Smalls, you've come to me countless times and you say, I want to do audio and I want to do podcasting, I want to do sports. There's no barrier to entry into this realm of society right now. You guys can start a YouTube channel and make YouTube video, and it can be just as good as companies that are doing it across the country. So one, there is no reason to not create something. People just need pushed. 2, I realized that through this passion, I was developing skills that I hate going to class. I hate signing up for classes. I hate doing courses.
Same here.
It's just like, I don't enjoy being at the bottom of not knowing something. And I know people are like, well, you got to know how to get up in the ladder and shit. And it's like, no, I hate sucking.
Forget that. Yeah.
Right. So I hate courses and classes, but I realized very quickly, I'm learning all of these skills that I'm not learning at work. I've never been taught in college. So the second fold of that started very heavy with all the shows and podcasts, because now we have every person under our umbrella has earned and learned skills that they can take on a very professional level. And even with this show, I mean, I would say that Smalls, you speak credence, and so does, like, another big name that I tout around the goddamn planet is Ryan Votash, because he's been able to take Rankings Court. He runs the whole show. Those are 2 people that could easily step into some other realm of a career path. They didn't have to pay for courses. There was no weird, like, give us money. I literally wanted people to create content, to have fun, but also, you know, it's this learning of tangible skills. So that part came very late into the process. Beginning, it was, can we smash a bunch of beers, talk sports, and if we get more shows, good. Now it's turning very much into workshopping. It's turning into giving creative outlet to friends that didn't have it. And it's turning into making sure people are getting skills and traits that is worth their time. Because we don't, you know, it's not something that's secret. We don't pay anybody that creates content for us. And we really don't generate that much revenue. It's all passion, fun until we hit some next level. But I wanted people to feel like they were earning something, even if it wasn't fame and fortune. Yep. So that was a later find in it. And sorry, that kind of spun off into a tangent, but that's where the company's going. And it's super, like, I finally can say I'm very proud of where we are, because for a while you're like, oh, we only have 7 viewers. 7 people are taking 2 hours out of their week to watch you bullshit about sports.
Exactly.
That in itself is cool. So,
well, and I think with you having that origin and that genesis of where it was supposed to start, of just having the good heartedness of, it's just a bunch of guys being dudes talking sports. And like, it was like, anyone that was watching the show was basically stepping into the room and being a part of your conversation. You know, it was a virtual experience of being able to sit with you and have this conversation. And I think that that's something that a lot of people, no matter what your social life is like, strive for. And there's some people who they don't have anyone in their lives that can just BS with them. They don't have anyone in their lives that can just talk sports. And you give that outlet for so many people that I think that it has such a good-hearted beginning, that watching it grow, knowing that that's where it started, and being able to still maintain that while reaching other avenues is awesome. And I think the things that you have expanded on when, you know, it was just talking and it was audio. Now you've got how many shows now, and then you've got people still pumping out articles, and and the fact that it's grown from just you and a couple friends being able to make it what it is today with the potential to be exponentially better than it even is right now is awesome. And everyone that's a part of it is dedicated to it and wants to see it grow as well. And I guess that does lead me to my second question, which is a little bit more personal.
Yeah.
Which screw went loose that let you bring me and Smalls on?
You told me we would not be addressing that on this show. That question is off limits. I am not legally allowed to answer that one.
Do it.
No, it's no brainer. I mean, you guys obviously, for anybody that watches the show but doesn't know the history of TFTB or the history of you two, you both came in at not like identical times, very similar situations where, I explained to you guys that I do get, emails and certain texts and things like that from people all the time that say, it's really cool. And I do appreciate the fact that I think you both really do appreciate where this all started from and what it is. And there's no snake oil sale for fame on this. This is literally, I'm very transparent about all that. But with you two, it's Smalls came in at a time where the show was hitting a stride by itself. And so there was Two Beers Deep, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't get is there's an umbrella, which is Thoughts on the Bench. Everyone thought those Two Beers Deep and Thoughts on the Bench are the same thing, which they are synonymous. Two Beers Deep is just a show. Thoughts on the Bench is the company. So at that time, it was just Two Beers Deep and the blogs. And that was pretty much it. Like Josh hadn't started By the Slice. Josh was blogging, but he was doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff that really is not as appreciated as it should be. But Small said, hey man, you're missing a huge section of sports, which is college sports. And me, I have a large appreciation for college sports, but I want to, I was in Kiski and then Slippery Rock and then Point Park. College sports were never a big thing for me. My dad didn't go to college. My mom went to IUP. I have some family who went to Pitt and Penn State, but it was never like my thing. So he emailed and said, hey, you are missing this big market. Here's like my fandom, how long I've been watching sports, and all this really cool information where, obviously I knew right then and there that he wasn't just another person being like, let me do something, because I explained that there's no gatekeeper, and both of you, which I'll get to your story, Ben, both of you very much have shown in your lives that you are ready to do something. And it's not like I'm waiting for permission. It's literally like, hey, this is my idea. If you think it's good, I'm going with it. But you both have a respect and appreciation. So Smalls was a no-brainer. We brought him on to write. And then obviously the Vault came from that in blog form. And then to Instagram form for a little while, Smalls, where we toss pictures in there. And the Vault was, it was easily the first like catchy thing we had going for us. Like it was the first, because Two Beers Deep and Thoughts on the Bench, and we have all these like really very cool names and concepts of things. But the Vault was like, yo, we're going to the Vault. We're bringing out the best jerseys from the past. And everyone's like, that's it. So the Vault has had so many iterations. And that's why I was so glad that we were able to get this show and give you guys the full reins. And then Smalls, you've obviously absolutely flourished under your own, because not a lot of people can be outside of the city of Pittsburgh and maintain the level of, communication and understanding and willingness. And then to get to you, Ben, you've been in my life. I don't even remember the first time I met you at this point, man. Do you remember anything about the first time you met me?
To a T. You had me at hello. No, I remember. I think I was in 6th grade, and there was some party at your cousin Ian's house. Who, if anyone follows the show, that is Austin, the Ranking's younger brother that I grew up with.
Keaton, the intern's older brother.
And yeah, and I remember we were at your aunt and uncle's house. And Ian was like, hey, my cousin Derek's coming over. And you were this dude who came over and didn't treat us like little kids. And I was like, oh, this guy's fucking awesome, at that point. And then there was for a while, like my freshman year of soccer, during the summer when we had 2 days, you would drive me and Ian to practice a couple times. And we bonded over some very odd music choices and making fun of Bob Wright. And it was good. It was a good back and forth connection.
That was like prime Broken Side 303 days, I feel like.
and I think it was because like I never viewed you as an older guy. You never viewed me as a younger guy. That relationship just kind of went back and forth. And that's why once I saw what you were doing with Thoughts from the Bench is why I decided to contact you.
Yeah, and I think it actually is unfair to say that the email was the first time that I've met Smalls. Obviously, I've known you guys for years through soccer, and both of you, obviously, from a very early age, I could appreciate, you guys as humans, and I knew you guys would eventually become the humans that you are, not like to a T, but I was like, all right, Smalls, you and your family and I were very close. And then growing up in soccer, and I remember that I got into a fight with Lang one day because I thought that you and Keebler should be on varsity ahead of DeZatis. But him and Jamie loved DeZatis, which shout out to Jiggy because I just played him in GPSL this summer and I tried to trip him.
Dude, I was going to say, you can't talk shit on Jiggy because Jiggy was way
Jiggy was
better
good.
than me.
Jiggy was good. My literal argument was that, one, I told Austin, I said, he's going to be a complete douche because you and Jamie and Jenkins treat him like a god. And I said, two, he's too tiny. I want to put him through a wall. But Jiggy he was wonderful. But we were just talking about freshmen playing, and you guys were all capable. But you were, Smalls back then, even you were a very mature guy. But back to Benny, that your entire group of friends have all been, and it's funny because it's my relationship with the Moorheads as a whole. I mean, Austin and I would grow up, he would show me horror movies, and he entered a lot of the comic book aspect into my life. My love for Marvel, I would say, partially comes from Austin. Ian and I were playing sports. We'd always be in the courtroom. We'd always be swimming. And then it was interesting with Keaton because Keaton and I were sports talking. So Keaton helped strike up a little bit of my passion for sports at an early age because he would want to talk and know. Ian would want to play. Austin would want to play video games. It was a very distinct, what I want to do when I come over. But with your group
each
of friends,
one of them served a purpose.
Yeah, and then get rid of them once I didn't want them anymore. but no, your entire group of friends were very mature, very fun. It was something that I will admit, I always envied because not that I don't have I have some wonderful friends through my life, but a lot of them have always been me and that guy are friends. And I've never had a very close group of friends that we all hang out and had to do the same thing through college, or we when we did trivia and you guys all know each other's birthdays for some weird reason. I don't know my friends' birthdays. I just know that. So I was always very envious of your friend group, and I was very fortunate to be seen as a friend and not some weird older guy, even though it was only really a 4-year gap in there. But when you came on to Thoughts on the Bench, man, you had already, I think the most impressive thing about you, Ben, was that you had already attempted stand-up. So that was that. I mean, I've never attempted stand-up. That spoke volumes to me because I was like, this dude has already taken the time to sit down and write content, taken the time to read it into a mirror or whatever you would do for preparation.
Oh, that's 100% it. So,
but that's the thing is you already started to do the things that when you were like, hey, I want to join Thoughts on the Bench. Could I? I'm like, no, don't say could. You've done more than other people that are on here. So it was a very no-brainer. I was very fortunate that both of you asked to be a part of it because you both were big parts of my life up until Thoughts on the Bench and obviously passed it to that point. But no-brainer. As far as how this show got greenlit, I don't really know. I think I just wanted our YouTube channel to get a little bit better. But no, it was a no-brainer. You guys are a perfect match, and you guys were already friends before this, and it doesn't feel forced. In none of our shows, I would say the nice thing that we've been able to do is nothing feels forced or not genuine or salesy. Every show is actually a genuine conversation every time.
Yeah, we keep everybody comfortable with each other.
I take such pride in that, man.
Each person on each show bounces off each other. So I think that's something, honestly, like you said, that you take pride in it. It should be something that you're proud of because think of how many shows are a part of Thoughts on the Bench now and under that umbrella. Yeah. And that you have at least each co-host, you have 2 people that are compatible that make the show go on.
We got lucky with a lot of people, but you two are a very clear example that the barrier to entry is to literally just start doing the thing. And Smalls has learned. I'm very willing. Josh is very willing. If you guys would ask Greg, I'm sure he would be willing, even though Greg obviously does nothing but just sit there and be the eye candy of the show, which is frustrating. But you guys do it, and that's the glory of it. And it's just wonderful that you guys were able to click as well as you have been, and get the show going. And I couldn't be prouder of you guys.
Yeah, no, I think the only thing I would really add on to that, and Ben, I would think you would agree. Like you said, there's no barrier to entry. Whenever I emailed you my quote unquote, resume, it was literally just because I wanted to do it. I knew that the web, the site wasn't big at the time. It was still pretty small. it was literally just an outlet for me to want to do something that I've always liked doing, but I never had anywhere to really do it. And like even like this show, I've come out and said it before, like I'm not very comfortable on camera. I'm not. I don't like putting my face out there. Even I just recently started, putting this out on my personal social media. So like this, just being a part of this whole
I've never
thing-
seen Canner and Smalls in the same room is what I'm gonna say.
Hey, who's that? Dude? Who is that? I don't know what you're talking about. But
sorry to cut you off, buddy. Keep going.
no, I mean it just I feel like Ben, you would agree. Like it's just it's cool to be a part of something that you're doing something that other people haven't really, I don't want to say gotten the courage, but like you're just doing something that you love doing just because you want to do it.
Absolutely, and I think that Deke, that kind of reverts back to what you were saying is like people, even like us, whether no matter what part that they've come in, it's not like, oh, I want to get in on the ground floor so that I can, flourish my own. It's just like to me, and I think this speaks not just for me personally, but for a lot of people that are a part of it now. Is there are three main things: is A, it's just fucking cool. B, it's something that we want to do anyway, and we probably never had the group or the platform to do it. And then C, everybody that almost everybody that that's now on Thoughts from the Bench knew you previously and had a connection and was like, hey, I want to help Deke out if I can. And I think that those three things are like, there's no one on the bench that has any reason other than that to be a part of it.
It's an amazing thing because, starting a company like Thoughts on the Bench is the easiest thing in the world when you have friends to exploit like mine. And it's funny, but it's true in a sense because one of the more fascinating things about Thoughts on the Bench is that it really shouldn't be around still, if that makes sense. Like it was me blogging and podcasting for a year by myself, and so many people were, you stop doing it or you burden yourself. And that's why, I've tried my best, and I'm very transparent again that I'm learning as I go. And there's decisions I've made that have been good. I think moving to Twitch was good. I think getting you guys to start pushing the YouTube inside of things has been good. And there's different decisions that have been good. But the best decision that, like, honestly, that I could ever hope for is trusting guys like Moorhead on the Rankings Court, and trusting Vo, and trusting, like, obviously I trust Josh at this point with my life out of pure one, because he's one of my best friends, but two, necessity. I mean, that dude knows me better than anyone on the planet, maybe him or Greg Malik, but trusting those guys with aspects of my life that sometimes we're not talking like friends, we're talking as business partners, we're talking as co-hosts. But I've had to learn a lot to trust people in my life that, and it's funny because like guys like Vo, him and I at Slippery Rock would be creating things on Photoshop together. And he's a very creative person. And so to be able to see that in him and to see it in you guys and for you to reach out and all those types of things, but to give them the chance, because a lot of people do feel, and like I keep beating the gatekeeper thing like a dead horse, but a lot of people feel like, oh, I never got my shot. And it's really kind of fuck that. Like, I understand that that's super easy to say, because even from a professional standpoint in my professional career, I still sit there. I'm like, man, if I got a shot, but then I'm like, I literally preached all these guys to go take it. Like, I need to rewire my brain and rewire the way you think. But no, I mean, it's literally, this would not be possible without the people that we have. Like, Greg is able to come to my apartment or wherever I need him for 3 hours once a week. And that is the reason Thoughts on the Bench is still around. I'm very, adamant about that. Greg kept this company afloat, but it's these friendships and these partnerships that I've built my entire life. It's literally just don't be a dick and people will help you get your goal. Like, it's an amazing concept, but just don't be a jackass, be a good person, and people will believe in you and you can believe in them.
Yep.
Well, Derek, I think just on behalf of like everybody, we thank you for giving us a shot. You know what I mean?
Yep.
This was a shot for every one of us to take, and that, that's why it's like anytime, me and Smalls, I think both came to you with the same approach of like, hey, we want to be a part of this, but we understand.
And you both put a very, very big thing out there saying you were missing XYZ. We were missing college football and we were missing basketball. You both addressed something that, not that we oversaw, but something we didn't have the time to do or the amount of people to do it with. And you both took the initiative, but you also addressed something we needed. It was, I mean, no-brainers all around. So as much as you guys say thank you, I thank you guys very easily. So,
well, that's enough praising.
Yeah. No, I want to
Thoughts
keep
on the
hearing how
bench
cool
right
I am
there.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Keep talking about how cool I was growing up. Yeah.
Well, you are on here for a reason.
Hell yeah, brother.
We actually have a sponsor, like we said last week. So this week's topic is brought to you by Marshall Fitness. Will Marshall, who we had on the show last week, started Marshall Fitness. Marshall Fitness is your online personal training resource that offers personalized workouts based on equipment, goals, and personal preference. They also offer personalized nutrition goals using MyFitnessPal, and he gives you weekly support on any questions you might have. Like I said, it is run by Will Marshall. I've known him for years. Such a good dude. Really good friend of the show now. He will work to make sure that you can achieve all your fitness goals within your everyday schedule. You really can't go wrong with this guy. So please go support Marshall Fitness and this show by visiting his Facebook page. If you just look up Marshall Fitness on Facebook, he should come up. But the best time to start is now. So please go support our sponsor. And like I said, this week's topic is the best college basketball jerseys of all time. Boys, we got March Madness coming up. It's getting down to the wire here in college basketball, so this is just perfect timing.
It honestly felt like March Madness had to happen in like 17 years because of last year.
I know.
It was 1 year,
right,
that skipped, and I feel like it was a fucking eternity. And it's just it was like
Jahlil Okafor was the last college basketball player I watched. Is how I feel.
Swear to God, probably even before that. I'm like, wait a second. So Julius Erving went to like it was
big
like,
San Francisco guy back then with Will. Yeah.
We missed 1 year, and I felt like years of my life were taken away. Just because that's what I look forward to, and especially for all of our basketball fans, all of our gambling addicts, and simply people who like to just watch crazy shit happen. Like March Madness is where all of that cultivates and all of that just blossoms into an amazing sporting event. And to me, I think it's the best playoff or tournament style that we have in pro sports today. So I'm super excited that's coming up. And like I said, I agree with Smalls that this was like the perfect time to have this topic with that coming up here pretty soon.
Dude, March Madness, it's the best 4 days in sports. No question. Like like the first 4 days, the first 2 rounds of the tournament, it's the best time of the year as far as sports.
Yeah, I'm thinking about calling off work.
Yeah,
like
I know.
To stay home and watch hoops.
Just
all
sit
day.
there and cry on your couch and lose money and be happy.
Or
because it's bittersweet. Because
I'll be
I'm
happy.
gonna bet.
Losing money, I can lose all the money in the world. March Madness is back. I'll be okay.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be that guy, but like I had Loyola Chicago going to the Elite Eight.
Oh, this guy's what was her name? Dude. Sister Jane?
No. Sister Jean. Sister
Jean.
Sister Jean. You're close.
I'm dyslexic.
Sister Jean. What a fucking legend. Sister Jean was a monster. I really hope that they don't card her out again this year because COVID. That'd be like probably.
I thought you meant because it was gonna be like cliche.
No,
dude.
For her like health.
I want to know how long Dickie V still got, because I swear to God, each year he gets more senile, and he's like, "No, listen, baby, we got Norfolk State going to the Final Four, baby. It's all the way." And you're like, Norfolk State didn't even make the tourney.
They lost their basketball team 3 years ago, Dick. Come on.
And he's like, okay, well, WCCC, like it's on. He's just getting to a point where, like, I feel like there's no way dude's not senile.
Hey,
him and Lee Corso. Him and Lee
Corso is exactly what I was going to say, Smalls. Lee Corso, God bless that man's soul for just sitting in his Florida home.
I love him, but he can't do it. You can't put him on TV anymore. You can't.
Hey, realistically, how bad do you think his head smells? Lee Corso.
Well, he doesn't leave it on that long. You're talking the headgear?
How many? They're not manufacturing a new.
I can almost guarantee they might be.
For him, I feel like they would.
Okay, but when they do those, so you're telling me when they went to South Dakota State, he had a custom fucking rabbit head made?
Bro, it's ESPN, dog.
Lee Corso, guy.
But Lee Corso, you're talking about him being more senile. He's probably like, "Give me the real thing. And probably putting that stinky ass shit on. He's like, I want to feel like a kid again. I promise you, his head smells rancid.
I believe that.
Jesus. All right, let's reel it in, Benny.
Welcome to the show.
I like being a guest. I don't got to reel it in. I don't got to train the show. I don't got to do any shit. I can run off the rails all day.
All right, Ben, who you got?
All right. So my first pick, this also is, being conscious of St. Patty's Day here coming up within the next month. And then also, I think it's just a kick-ass jersey. These are the Notre Dame 2016 Fighting Irish alternate jerseys that they had for that season. Now, they brought them out in a couple different renditions. There is a gold one of this, but I think the green one is better just because it's a color that we don't see very much coming from the Fighting Irish. Like, it's funny that that's what they're called, but navy and gold are their primary colors. And I like seeing the green being brought in. It adds a little bit of ethnic flair, if you would. But I love the font. I love the way that it looks. I love the shamrock play in there. And I like that they're still keeping the navy and gold with the solid color of the font and then the outline being in gold, which doesn't offset the green too much. I think it's just a clean, solid jersey. And the fact that it's an alternate is, it's almost like a little teaser, for watching their entire season. Like, hey, this is a pretty clean look. And Notre Dame has been very up and down with being a good basketball team and being a god-awful basketball team. But this is one that if they're wearing these, I don't mind watching.
Yeah, I'm not completely sold on these.
You just hate Notre Dame.
I hate Notre Dame uniforms universally. They come out with some stinkers year in, year out. This is probably on the upper echelon, I would say. Like, it's clean. It's not bad. But like, I don't know. I think I just have PTSD from the football program, just putting out stinkers like year in, year out. But
this isn't football.
I know it. I know it's just. I also do hate Notre Dame, so
I think that you're just upset because you wanted Manti Te'o's girlfriend and you couldn't have her, and now look where we're at.
I think I slept with her once.
Were you living out that movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix, where he's like dating the artificial intelligence thing?
Yes,
and maybe
except
that's
it was a Sony PlayStation 1. Yeah.
I think they wrote Her based off of Manti Te'o. I got to check the timeline on that. Man, we'll ask the thoughts of the movie, guys. See how accurate.
Oh fuck, Deke. I mean, what do you think about these? I feel like I'm okay. I like them. They're fine.
Honestly,
you're the tiebreaker.
I don't think Notre Dame leans into the Irish enough. And like, I know that I'm saying that, but they're like green and gold. But like, I would make it way more. But these, honestly, the thing that does it for me is the cursive script on the front of the jersey. I think that it's the perfect call to their traditional colors. It reminds me, and I parallel almost every college jersey to pros, just because I think the pros jerseys are just terrific. But it 100% reminds me of what an alternate jersey would be in the NBA, where it's clearly a different color, obviously Fighting Irish green, but their colors are still well established in it. I think I hate the shorts, I'll admit, but I think it's a good pick. I like the script a ton on the front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. The script always works. I think universally the script. One of my picks also has that. So I think no matter what you do, you can't go wrong with that. So, all right, Deke, jersey number 1.
Oh my God, man! The most iconic jersey in college basketball. The 1991 Michigan Wolverines. I'm talking Fab Five. I'm talking Jimmy King, Juwan Howard. I'm talking Rose. And I can never remember that last guy's name, Ben.
Ray, is it Ray something? Ray?
See, King's the only one that isn't.
I try not to Google it because Jimmy King I always mess up. But obviously Weber, obviously Howard, obviously Rose.
It's
Jimmy
Ray
King.
something. It's Ray something.
That Jackson?
It might be Ray Jackson.
I think it's Ray Jackson. Let's go with Ray Jackson. But
it might be. It could be Michael Jackson. I'm not going to remember. I'll just be quite honest.
The wonderful thing about the 91 Wolverines, though, is there's two things that they revolutionized in the college basketball game. Not so much affiliated hardcorely with the jerseys they were given by the school. But this was obviously, outside of what I just said, this is the first time that 5 freshmen started on a college court. But the most important things they did for basketball as a whole, black socks, long shorts.
Yep. Yeah, I can tell you've
Go ahead,
seen
Smalls.
the ESPN film.
I have it on DVD. I've watched it multiple times.
I think I've seen that thing about 5 times. But
it's
it's
amazing.
They literally traded shorts with the biggest guys on the team so that they could have baggier shorts. And luckily they were cool. Yeah, it's awesome.
And to me, it was like they were 5 freshmen, right? Which was obviously the biggest headline across America. And like everyone just like accepted it. Like these are 18-year-old kids coming on and taking the world by
Christian
fucking
Laettner
storm.
In regular time.
Yeah,
and it's
in regular time. Yeah.
It's crazy to me that they just did this. It's 18-year-old kids that they caught their big break, and college basketball was something that they really changed the way that it was looked at just by being 5 freshmen that came on, and like you said, with the style and things like that, and especially you got to think right now, who's the coach of that team? Juwan Howard, who played on this 91 Michigan Wolverines team. How fucking poetic is that?
It's awesome. Yeah, they're cooking right now too. They're cruising.
Dude, they are so good. I have them easily as a Final Four write-in, and knock on wood, I hope that I didn't just jinx them there. But I think like what Juwan
first
Howard
round
is doing,
knockout right now because Benny Bucket's
listen, this is their second their second year with Juwan Howard as coach. I think that he's doing wonders for that program, and I think he's going to continue to. And I think something's to be said that he has the passion to make them as good because of that being his alma mater and him having the history there that he does. And I'll be honest, his NBA playing career, extremely disappointing.
He's got like 3 rings on the Heat with LeBron.
Well, yeah, so does Udonis Haslem, who only played in the 2006
James
championship
Jones.
with Dwayne Wade. So, like, I don't know. I think that he seems like one of those guys who obviously he has league experience, but it was like even players that were his teammates on the Heat and other teams that he played for always said that they knew he was going to be the type to go on and be a coach. And I think that he has really blossomed into that role, and he's going to take them big places, and not just this year, but for years to come.
When you guys both brought it up, the documentary, I mean, he was the guy that got everyone else.
Yep.
He was the key part of that team that recruited the rest of that group, and Weber was the big name they needed. And Howard was, Rose, I think, I mean, it's between him and I said Howard Weber. I would say Rose and Weber both had very good careers. Probably Weber had the better of the two, most predominantly because Jalen Rose got 81 points put on his dome. But Howard was the one.
R.I.P. coach.
He literally, it's 24, which is why I did have the Kobe jersey on today. But Howard was the reason. So everyone knew he was going to be a coach from a young age. That's a very good point, Ben. And you know what? As much as I would like to see the Jumpman logo on these unis, I love the color. They're too clean. It's not an obnoxious yellow. It's just.
Yeah. I hate Michigan, period. But even this is one of my favorite college basketball teams ever. Like, you can't.
Look at that.
I know. Hey, I can be rational. I can be.
He's owned a pair of khakis.
No, let's not talk about that guy. All right. Let's get into my first pick.
Ooh.
Is that a good oof?
It's a great oof.
Okay.
It's a good oof.
Okay.
I love Syracuse.
Great oof. So I'm going with the 1985 Syracuse Orange. Again, like Deke said before, the script. That's what makes it, period. There's nothing super flashy about this, but it screams Syracuse basketball. And Syracuse basketball, they've always had this like air of like eliteness almost. And like they're just, I don't want to call them a blue blood because they're probably not a blue blood program anymore. But like they were like one of the top programs in the country for years because of Jim Boeheim. And like it's just such a recognizable uniform. Even today, you look at like the jerseys they have now, they're just orange. Like they are the Syracuse Orange. Like it's so cut and dry. Like Syracuse has just, I don't really think I've ever had bad uniforms, and I think these were probably the best look that they had, and it's because of the script. It's a classic jersey overall. It's just like overall incredible.
Well, I love it too because I'm a big fan of, and it has to be the right shade, but of orange in sports jerseys. Like I think that it's a color that kind of gets overlooked a lot. but I love the use of it. And I think pairing it with something as simple as a white, especially in what we see here, is like just awesome. And reverting back to what you said, is they've been consistent with it. They're still orange and white now. The font has changed and things like that. But I think that like this era, that was something that didn't get seen a whole lot. And that's why I kind of love the look that it is a solid orange. It's not like there was a hint in there. It's like, bam, right in your fucking face. This shit is orange. So I like it. I like the classic script. I hate Jim Boeheim, but overall I like this Syracuse kit.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's fair. I hate the zone defense, but Syracuse is cool. But to do this, this is very aligned with the Michigan pick in the terms of the jerseys were simplistic back then, and it was here is a color you can stare at because the tones mattered back then. You look at the Michigan jersey; it wasn't this obnoxious yellow; it was a mild mute. Orange is not some obnoxious orange; it's mute. And so basically, the concept comes from here's our jersey. We just have a jersey. We're going to kick your ass. So I think that there's something about that entire era of like these jerseys that you can watch for a long amount of time. Your eyes won't get tired. There's no neon. There's no craziness. But orange, like Ben said, is a tough color in sports. Like it's hard to get an orange that everyone appreciates, that burnt looking color. And the script on the front, these very much, I would say out of especially the ones that I picked, that the most professional in terms of college jerseys out of the batch is what I would assume, just because they look like they would be the Knicks jerseys or something.
Yeah, I feel like there's also something. There's always been something cool about playing basketball in the Big East.
Yes,
like the playing in the Big East was just fucking cool. There's no.
I'm honestly pissed that didn't stick around, because you got to think it's not like that was not a competitive division. I mean, you got to think you had
it was football.
Syracuse.
Football was the driving factor.
Football's the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cell.
JJ Watt, bring it on over, pal. Bring it on over. Golgi apparatus, Golgi bodies, endoplasmic reticulum. I'm just naming off science shit now.
I just like that every time you would say something, you would go and then lean really into the camera and then back.
Well, I got to get my reps in. So
I like it.
But I think that conference, you got to think about who all was in it, with having Syracuse, having Pitt, having West Virginia, and even for a period of time, St. John's was competitive, especially in basketball.
Georgetown too.
In Georgetown
for sure
is like
they really did have everybody.
You have these pillars.
It was
these pillars in college basketball that were there, and really aside from the ACC, who throughout time only had really UNC and Duke, because Louisville also something that just kind of got thrown into that mix. You know what I mean? But it was like the Big East was just awesome, and especially
Villanova, like
Villanova too.
Marquette,
I forget about them,
the Big East was sick. And we'll get to your second pick in a minute, Ben. But dude, the Big East, I grew up watching the Big East. It was at the time, it was much better than Big Ten basketball. Much better. It was way more competitive and way more exciting to watch. Better players coming through, bigger bigger name programs. It was a big deal. But all right, Ben, let's get to your second pick.
I was so pissed I didn't answer you before Ben on this one. I just want to bring that up. I was so pissed I didn't text back before Ben did.
Listen, I know that this is probably bold, and there's going to be some people who are pissed at me for picking this. You can shove it up your ass, because this jersey is sick as shit. I don't care who you are, whether you like Pitt, whether you hate Pitt, but most homers like myself should understand that this is a kick-ass jersey. Pitt last year reverted their colors back to a softer blue and a yellow as the primary colors, and they do look sick. And their normal jerseys, look somewhat like this, like in the same style, in the structure of the font and everything. But the fact that they went from blue and yellow to this black and yellow, this black and gold color, these rich colors that are what every pro team in the city of Pittsburgh has, was like, hey, this is a fucking Pittsburgh school. Granted, it's called the University of Pittsburgh, but this really embodied the city's personality. And I think that, if you look into the design of the font, the people who did design the new uniforms and the new look of their new logo and everything like that said that they tried to incorporate what Pittsburgh's all about. And I think that this is even perfect. I love just the solid P up front and the fact that it's still in their font that is with the schools currently, but it's just that it doesn't say Pitt or Pittsburgh or Panthers. I like just a solid P, and the black, yellow, and the white are like a cooler, updated version. Like if Pittsburgh had a pro basketball team, this is what I would want them to look like. And the fact that we don't have that, and the college kind of took that on as a responsibility, and being able to put out a jersey this clean from a school who really doesn't get looked at for basketball anymore in this day and age is awesome. And I'm a big fan of this.
Yeah. So I grew, just so y'all know, I'm full disclosure, I was a Pitt basketball fan growing up because Penn State was
bullshit. Poppycock. You were not.
Penn State they've been garbage for fucking years. So I had to pick a team, and it was so easy to get on board with Pitt with how good they were.
Clip it. Clip this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your responsibility, but I'm mentally clipping it, and then you
I'll mark it
actually clip it.
I'll mark it down. Dude.
I'm going to try something. Aaron Donald's better than LeVar Arrington.
That's fact.
In college or professional football?
I knew it. All right, I just wanted to test the Penn State fandom really quick. Okay, you passed.
All right, no, but like no joke. Like I remember the Aaron Gray days, the Levance Fields days. Like I really
was.
Yeah, dude, I really
Sam Young.
I really followed Pitt basketball.
Ronald Ramon. They were gas back in the day. Absolute ethanol.
Dude, they were I loved watching them. Like I said, I cared more about Pitt basketball at one point. I cared more about that than Penn State basketball. It was easy. But they look like NBA jerseys. Straight up. They look like NBA. First of all, I love the new Pitt script. I hate Pitt in all other aspects, but they got it right with the script. Like bringing back the Pitt script was a great move. And to make just like a black and gold jersey, I think that's a fucking no-brainer.
On behalf of the university, we will accept your compliment. Thank you, Smalls.
Thank you. Thank you.
Deke, I want to hear what you have to say about
Bro, so yeah, like these, I was going to throw these in there if you hadn't, and they're amazing, but it's, I mean, it's the first thing I do when I log on a 2K is I go to my created team mode, where Tyler Harrow and Darius Garland are splashing trays all day long for Pittsburgh. But no, it's an interesting thing because, you know, we are the only city, I believe, the only other one would be Seattle, but the Mariners don't quite have that same color as the Sounders and the Seahawks. We're the only city that truly has a color identity, which I think is interesting. And I will say this out loud. I think Pitt's like varsity blue gold look is cooler than this look. Like I would rather them keep that varsity blue gold.
Yeah.
But this is the exact perfect jersey. Like everything they did was perfect. The only difference is that every player should have had 412 across the back at this point. But I love these jerseys. I'm proud of these jerseys. I would buy this jersey in a heartbeat. And I think it was the perfect, like, I think it was this the city one or whatever it was called, Ben?
Yes.
Yeah,
yep.
the city jersey or something. But no, I thought they destroyed it. It's such a good jersey.
Yep. Deke, pick number 2.
Hell yeah, brother. So honestly, my fandom for one, Jimmy Buckets, has always been there, but Benny Buckets really turned it on for Miami last year. So I love the 2010 Marquette Golden Eagles jersey. It's because, you know, you get into there's a lot of jerseys that I enjoy that are super complicated and super complex. But the reason I picked 3 that are I would say a little more sleek, a little more simple is because I think that adding the blocked sectioning on the cut of the jersey is absolutely genius because you give yourself like even down to the side, that creativity, that like little bit of flash that was getting really popular from 2005 to 2015 ish. But it's such a sleek jersey. And it's, again, it gets into that, like, it's not an obnoxious color. Like it is yellow, but the blue breakup, I know that it's kind of correlated to everything, but this could easily be a Denver Nuggets jersey and we would be happy with it. But Marquette's one of those teams, dude. Marquette's just cool to me. Like Marquette is just cool. They're always good. They always have somebody that's good at basketball. They're never a blue chip, blue blood, but they just feel like they feel like a school that I should have gone to. And like, I would have worked my ass off to get myself near a Kentucky and we could have done it type of school.
Yeah.
They just that vibe.
Dude,
They're a workhorse type school, and that's
Blue collar,
but
baby.
I think about the most two notable names that come out of Marquette: Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler. And think
Yes,
about
sir.
their identities of players. They are Marquette, and Marquette has seemed to always keep that personality type of like, we're going to work our asses off. We're not going to be a top 5 team, but we're going to give that top 5 team some fucking heat. And, you know, they are one of those teams that I feel like you always have to root for. And when you look this clean, I mean, it's a jersey that I think it's often overlooked. And Deke, I'm sensing you love yellow. There's a lot of yellow here.
Right, I didn't mean to do that, and I normally don't love yellow, but yellow.
as he's wearing his Kobe jersey, yeah.
with the
also yellow
jersey, both yellow. Yeah. You know what? I even wore this hat because the Vault's new logo is cursive and yellow, and I was like, "Shout out Creative's Drink." I'll wear a cursive and yellow thing. I didn't mean to do this, but it's working.
Well, still, I think that this is a very solid pick for you, and I'm proud that this is one that you threw in the mix for sure.
Yeah. Do you want to know why you think Marquette's cool? It's because they were in the Big East. They still are in the Big East.
Hey,
that's a really good point.
We got to find out at some point who the hell's left in the Big East.
They got like DePaul. They got Villanova.
Okay. Wow, they're off to a great start with DePaul.
I'm just Villanova, Marquette.
I'm gonna look
St.
that up because is Creighton?
I think Creighton is now.
Yeah, Creighton's in it. Let's go, baby.
Hilarious,
Seton Hall,
which is hilarious.
So they have all the blue schools ever, Smalls.
It's a blue conference now.
So, oh wow, they have. Wait, what? No, okay, hold on one second. I clicked all conference. They have Villanova, Creighton, Seton Hall, Connecticut, Xavier.
Okay. Xavier, like, I don't think of them as a Big East school, but like they are also like kind of a cool basketball school. Like they're like they're a March Madness team. That's what I think of when I think Xavier.
Yeah.
Little known fact: Bill Murray, huge Xavier basketball fan.
That's weird.
I know.
Are they out of Chicago? I think.
Cincy.
No, they're out of Cincy.
No, I thought
right?
close to Cincy. It's like that.
I thought Villanova.
It's in Ohio.
No, Villanova's Philly. You're
Ohio.
right. It's Xavier is Philly, right? Or Cincy.
Xavier's
it's
close
somewhere
to Cincy.
near there.
Yeah.
I played
a
NAIA school at Xavier's Field, and I get Xavier and Villanova so drastically messed up until I realized Villanova's Philly. We played at Xavier's Field, had stone walls built in, beautiful. We beat them 11-0. I took pictures, sent it to a girl, and said we just beat Xavier 11-0.
Nice. Nice. But
it worked. Did it work? It worked.
We got it.
Hey,
was it a good night that night?
I scored more than I did during the day because I'm a goalie.
Let's go. So that could be.
That could mean anything.
Moving
Yeah, that could mean anything.
1 is greater than 0.
Yep. Okay. But no joke. I don't think there are many. I would say Kentucky, UNC, and Marquette. You know exactly what jersey you're looking at when you see it. Like I would say those three, and outside of that, like it's just so recognizable. All right, third jersey. This one, the team was fucking garbage, but I'm gonna go with it because this is awesome. So this was the 2019 Northwestern Wildcat senior night jerseys. So basically what Northwestern did, and I kind of think this is it's a cool tradition. They have the seniors design their senior night jersey, and they can pretty much do whatever they want. So far, they've kind of leaned in like the classic NBA look so far. But these guys went back to the Vancouver Grizzlies and said, which I already mentioned that. Like if you go back to watch the first episode of The Vault, that was in my top 3. Vancouver Grizzlies, fire jersey. I think these might be a little better just because of the colors.
Ooh.
It might be a hot take, but because of the colors.
It's like if the Sacramento Kings and the Vancouver Grizzlies fucked and produced this jersey, like this is what we have. And I think that's actually, that's poetic. But look at it now. I think it is awesome, and it does almost kind of pay homage. Like if you look at the shorts, like that is very 90s-esque with the big logo coming out.
We've talked about that. Yeah, the big logo. It works. Like any big logo on your uniform that it's an animal holding a basketball, Like that's all you need.
Just classic.
And like I said, it is cool because it's like now a tradition that they've only done it for a few years, but they're saying they're going to stick with it. The seniors design these for their senior night every year. Under Armour, I think, has some stinkers for as far as basketball goes. I mean, and they put out the Steph Currys. So, like, those the dad shoes out there.
Hey, if I can shoot like him, I'll wear them.
That's a Steph experience.
Yeah.
Right? I have one thing to say about the Vancouver Grizzly, why I would pick that over the Wildcats, despite this being a dope jersey. The only reason, Smalls, is the same reason I said against Marquette, the trim. The all black Grizzlies with the trim that had the crazy colors was so subtle, but
it was like
that's fair.
And that's the thing is it was so subtle, and it was like, but if you look closely, it's like a mosaic type.
Oh yeah,
feel,
for sure.
Like going around, like it's he sold me there, Small. Sorry.
No, I mean they have the trim, but it's not as cool. I get it. I was just going purely based off like I feel like purple. Purple. If you can do purple right, purple can fucking work. So
greatest color in sports, in my opinion, because it's not used enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Kings for both sports use it a little bit. Lakers use it. Utah Jazz, which Ben, I know you love the Utah Jazz jerseys and with the giant mountains and John Stockton back in the day.
That was me.
Was it? Well, I think okay. I'm sorry.
That doesn't mean I don't love it, Small.
So I
literally said that was my favorite sports jersey of all time.
It was. I apologize. But I believe the reason I said that is because Benny Buckets tossed in a TFTB with that logo. Unless that was you.
That was
okay.
Me.
Well, then I was lied to by Greg Malik.
I blame
Greg Malik.
I texted Vo and said, hey, make this shit. And he did.
Okay. Well, no, I blame Vo then. I blame Vo.
Okay. All right. I mean, I'm sure Benny loves it too.
Smalls, you have the best idea in sports.
Nice. All right. He looks put out right now.
Strumming, baby.
All
right. So all my Duke fans out here are going to be real pissed off. But I don't give a shit because these jerseys are better than yours. Powder blue smacks. I don't give a shit who you are, especially in this sport. It doesn't work in all cases, but for basketball, this is perfect. And I know, like, I almost wanted, just for the classic sense, wanted to throw back to the 80s and put Jordan's jersey in here. But this updated version is just a little better because of the construct. It's a cleaner look for the font. And then also the sides with, like, the weird Argyle diamond type shit. I don't get it, but I fucking love it. And it's weird because, like, I wouldn't put that on most other jerseys. But for North Carolina, it works. And white and powder blue obviously are a great combination. Like, this wouldn't work really if they tried to do it with almost any other color, but they're two softer tones that go hard for a basketball team. And as you can see, the white Titan Tyler Hansborough is in there. Loved watching him play because he was a fucking psychopath, but he kind of like embodied that a little bit. And everyone saw North Carolina as this like finesse type team with people in their history like Jordan, who, you know, made a name for himself more so in North Carolina to come into the league and things like that. And Tyler Hansborough, and as you can see in the top right there, Danny Green's in there. Some of these guys. Now, I wish that Tyler Hansborough panned out in the NBA. He did not. But they were guys that at least in that time embodied the personality of the university. And I think that for being North Carolina and having to withhold that tradition, having a clean look is at the precipice of that. Because if I look at that team and I'm like, man, like they look pretty sharp and they probably play well. But I love the color scheme. I love the new font and I love the trim on the sides. This is one of my favorite jerseys for sure.
Yeah, the sides, like I said before, like you recognize Kentucky, Marquette, and UNC. And it's because of the sides. Like, any other team, I'd be like, that Argyle shit on the sides, like, what is that about? UNC, I mean, that's just what
Art Institute, yeah.
It works though. Like, it works. And the powder blue, like me and Ben have talked about, the powder blue smacks.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, and not that it doesn't for other sports, because as we've talked, like, I think that the Pens throwback Winter Classic jerseys are probably my favorite sports jersey. period.
Yep.
But for whatever reason, it seems like even more than those sports, more than baseball, more than hockey, more than football, like the powder blue, not just on North Carolina, but on multiple teams, just especially the Tar Heels, it just works so much better for that type of uniform, I feel like. And there's something to be said about colors and shapes matching up, and I feel like this is the perfect example of it.
I do want to add one thing that there's something, I grew up a Duke fan because like I said, I did not have a team, and Duke was just good. I like Duke in terms of their player base, but when it comes to college athletics, my big reason for not liking North Carolina comes from two reasons. One, the fact that I grew up being like, oh, I just like Duke. And so they were rivals. But two, the fact that like in high school, I told someone I don't even remember who it was, told someone I was a Duke fan, and they just went off the Duke sucks. They're this, that. I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a Duke fan harder. Like I'm going to be a harder Duke fan because you're being a douchebag. And that made me hate UNC. But there's something absolutely iconic about that exact powder. Like that is the coolest color in sports, in my opinion, that powder blue. And I think that the Chargers do it well. The Royals do it well. There's certain teams that I think Philly baseball had a powder blue.
Yep, they did.
They do. And that's my favorite of their uniforms.
Yep.
Oh, so, dude, the powder blue, like it can, I don't want everyone to use it, but when it's there, man, I think it's the easiest watching color in sports.
Without a doubt. So are you a big Coach K guy then?
Massive, still to this day. Not so much a Duke guy, massive Coach K guy. And
he hasn't aged in 40 fucking years.
So a little bit inside. I don't know if you guys were able to view an episode of Two Beers Deep that happened in December. I brought on the president of my company. Were you guys able to?
I think I was on that.
I think you were on the earlier segment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I stayed tuned in after.
But we had Scott on, who is childhood best friends with Coach Calipari. So there are things that like I've talked to Scott about at happy hours and even on the show touch base of it. But it's so funny to see like, because I like Coach K because he's the USA coach, right? And I like Coach K because he takes young kids and he doesn't bullshit them either. He's like, look, you're going to be a one and done. You're going to go pro. Always appreciated that. Coach Cal invented that. And Coach Cal.
Are you getting them? Hold on. Are you getting them mixed up?
No. Coach K for Duke. Coach Cal for Kentucky.
I wanted to make sure.
Kentucky, Memphis, when Derrick Rose was there.
Memphis and Rhode Island. No, thank you, Smalls. But no. So Cal invented the going into the living room. He invented the I want to talk to your kid. He invented the hey, look, you only should do this for 1 year because you can go make money. All of the blue chips after him started investing so heavy into that. Mm-hmm. But I think that there's something to said about like I've named coaches in every one of those teams. I've named those teams so far in this discussion. You know what I mean? Like none of that touches powder blue. So it's just getting through like all these and I can't even like right now I feel is it Dean Smith still?
No, it's no, it's not Dean Smith. It's
who's the dude?
It might be Dean Smith actually.
I thought there was a change.
I'm gonna look that up actually.
But even with all those things and all that stuff happening, it's none of those. All the blues are like bold, old Kiski soccer blues. Ben, the powder blue's different.
Roy Williams.
Wait, you were asking about the coach?
He's basically the same dude as Dean Smith.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, basically the same guy. Old
guy
with
I can remember Roy Williams' name. I can remember the dance.
Roy Williams has way more swag. The dance, you ever seen his fucking sneaker collection? Dude's got plenty.
Fire sneaker collection.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for being 112 years old, his sneakers are awesome.
He's a vampire just collecting sneakers.
All right. Deke, your third and final pick.
Yeah, man, I traditionally hate Flash when it comes to Oregon for all their sports. The only reason being that is just it feels like if they're not winning national championships in every game, but they're like bringing all this really cool equipment, well, what are you doing wrong? The thing that I love about these is that I've never seen a pair of basketball shorts I've loved. Love these. Like I don't like shorts to me. I feel like if the forgotten factor when it comes to basketball. So it's a little frustrating because the shorts sometimes are just like a compliment to the jersey. The jersey is a compliment to the shorts. That is why I picked it for this one, is that, yeah, they're like obnoxious wings down to your kneecaps, but it's the first time on an Oregon jersey that, because you look at like even in football, the helmets like reign supreme. I love that the shorts are the center of attention for this, and the jersey accents the shorts. I think that's super cool.
It's different for sure. I'm glad that you had actual rationale to back that up, because I was gonna rip you apart for being like every other.
No, dude, I love.
I was gonna rip you.
I had a good story behind it.
No, you at least had good reasoning, because I was gonna rip you apart for being like every other basic white dude ever that just loves Oregon for their uniforms. No, I mean, like, I like Oregon's uniforms. They have some good ones, but like it's unique enough where I can at least see it. I wouldn't have picked this, but I can at least
sending this in. I felt nervous because I didn't send a description with it. I was like, I feel like they're gonna not get it until
I can see it. And you're putting this in is a full uniform and not just a jersey. And like, obviously everybody knows I'm a huge basketball guy. You know, watching, betting on, playing, whatever. Yeah. Like this is a uniform that growing up playing basketball, I wish I got to wear. Like, I think that this is cool. I'm big on black. Like, I think black is a tough color. And it's weird because usually I hate like the safety yellow, but it like accentuates the rest of the jersey. And I really do actually like the design on the shorts. And I think it was perfect the way that you put it, Deke, in that the jersey really is a compliment to the shorts. That's where like the focus of the whole uniform should be. But I think I really like the font of Oregon being put, and I feel like that bright color offsetting to such deep dark black color that it works. And I love that their font and the shape of their numbers and everything. And also their court, cool. And their court is amazing. If you've ever seen it with like the forest and shit on it. And I know that everybody,
dude, you like that shit?
Oh yeah, I think it's awesome. I know that
it hurts my fucking eyes.
There's a balance between that and like what a court should look like. I don't like blank courts with just ads.
Sure.
I think the forest is super unique, but I think that, Ben, back me up on this, the Hornets have done the best job.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I think because like you said, like I'm assuming you were alluding to, is the multicolors that they put.
Yes.
Like in just the different tones that they accentuate off the court. I think that also there's something to be said for how the players look in their uniforms on courts like that. Is it almost plays into how they look and how you view the uniform when watching the sport happen. Yep. And I do like that you put in Oregon, and because people either love or hate Oregon for the simple fact that they have a Brinks truck of Nike shit brought in every fucking day, because they are there in the headquarters. But that being said, there was plenty of Oregon uniforms you could have picked, and I'm really happy that this is the one that you chose to make the cut.
Yep.
I had rationale. As long as you bring rationale, you'll never get in trouble. That's all. That's what I learned in elementary school.
I was a little skeptical going into it, but I appreciate that. That was good. All right. My last pick. 96 Georgetown Hoyas. Fucking love these. Really, the main reason I love these is because one of my favorite basketball players of all time, AI, was the one wearing it. So, like I said, but like we've been talking about, I feel like we've mentioned it probably 3 or 4 times already. The Big East was just fucking cool. There's no other way about it. Georgetown is just one of those, it's one of those weird schools that like, it's like almost preppy and prestigious, like. And, like, I've been on I live probably 10 minutes away from Georgetown's campus. Like, I've been on campus. It's like a Harvard feeling. But Georgetown basketball team never really embodies that. They have kind of like a classic look, but they don't come off as, it's not like Harvard playing basketball where it's like, that makes sense that Harvard's wearing that. Georgetown always has something like a little different while also kind of looking traditional. It's weird. This one was a little different, but like, again, I feel like there's a theme where if you have something on the sides that makes your jersey stick out but not too much, it's usually going to hit. And I think just for the simple reason that AI was there when they were wearing these is awesome. And it's weird, though, because like the stripes down the side, it almost looks like a Tommy Bahama shirt. But for some reason, it works.
Is it safe to say, Smalls, that this jersey is cool because of AI? Because I think my Michigan jersey is very much aligned with Fab 5.
Yep. I completely agree with that. I mean, we've talked about that before, where like either a certain memory or a certain player, certain team, it'll embody that jersey, and that's what you remember, not necessarily just the jersey itself.
Yep, it's the
but
moment,
like,
it's the feel.
It triggers something, right? And AI was just fucking unbelievable, and not just at Georgetown, he was unbelievable his entire career. Like I said, my favorite basketball player of all time. The first time that I sat down and watched an NBA game, it was AI playing Kobe in like 04, 05. First time ever watching an NBA game. And I was blown away. This dude put up like 35 points. Like he was on a different level.
Pound for pound, arguably the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
And I would say that arguably he's put in there because it's still Jordan, but pound for pound, there's no reason he should have been as good as he was in college or the pros.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Now, Smalls, this isn't payback for the Notre Dame pick earlier, but this is just genuine. I think these stink, but that's the beauty of this show.
We can disagree. We can disagree.
Is because we can.
No, we
disagree,
can't fight to the death.
And I still love you even for this horrendous pick. No, it doesn't do it for me. I think it's very bland, but it is classic. I think because of AI, and that's just where, like you guys were playing to before, is if say AI never played there, Patrick Ewing never played there, are we talking about this jersey? You know what I mean? And that's just kind of where I'm thinking is like, I'm not saying that it's awful, but I will admit you even decreased it further when you brought up the Tommy Bahama point on the sides of the jersey.
What's wrong with Tommy Bahama shirts?
That's where I'm thinking right now.
What's wrong?
What
do you got against?
Oh, you
Tommy
also
Bahama?
hate Jimmy Buffett? What's up, man?
Yeah, I thought this was like a known fact. I don't get down with that shit at all. Let me go to
Jimmy
the beach
Buffet.
in peace. I don't need to hear Margaritaville every 10 fucking minutes. I
Cheeseburger
don't
in
need to
paradise,
see you wearing
bro.
a
Come
shirt
on.
with flowers on it. If I'm in paradise, I'm gonna be walking around fucking nude. I don't care. I don't need this fucking Tommy Bahama shirt. Now, granted, I will wear one if it is bought for me, but I'm not gonna spend my money on it. And I just think that if for Georgetown and these gray and navy blue jerseys, the Tommy Bahama shit on the side is fucking absurd.
I will say though, Ben, in the defense of this, how many other gray jerseys are there? Seattle in the Nets?
Yeah,
You don't see it.
but I think
that they do a good job with the gray. I get what you're saying. It's just gray for me is like a very hard color to do in sports because of sweat and just dirty. But I think that it does it at least justice, I guess.
And maybe I'm holding out something for the color gray because I like it in regular everyday attire, I guess, but I think in sports, like I don't like the Nets gray jerseys.
Big
Okay.
Ralph
Like,
guy. Big Ralph guy in here.
No, not all gray, but I'm saying like a gray shirt or a gray hoodie as an accent to other things. Not these girls who wear all gray and they say that it's a grout fit, like it's a cute thing. It's not. But I think that for the jersey aspect, it is something that is different. So I will give you points for that because that is a good point. You don't see many gray uniforms. But I don't know, man. I think that I definitely get your reasons behind it. It just doesn't fucking click for me.
I get it. We don't have to agree.
For
like
me,
I said,
Smalls, Hoya is the name that I love.
Dude,
I don't get it.
Dude, do you want to know what I was doing research on this just because I was like, what the fuck is a Hoya? But
right?
the show, I was like, what is a Hoya? So they named one of their dog mascots. His name was Hoya. He was like a terrier there, though, not even like the bulldog like they have now. Mm-hmm. Before that, though, the terrier mascot that they had before that was literally a World War II hero. The dog was a World War II hero. And before that, they had a bunch of different mascots over the years, but before that, the word Hoya was Latin for something, but they were literally called what I fucking had it wrote. The Stonewalls. They were called the Stonewalls.
Oh.
Up until 1920.
Georgetown Stonewalls, huh?
And
No,
Hoya,
I like Hoyas, and I think that should be their chant when breaking a huddle or whenever they're getting ready to go back in the game. I think everybody put their hands in on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hoya! And then they just cut off at that point and go out on the court and probably lose by 14. But that's that's where they're at now.
Jesus. Okay.
Just like how a Canuck
Canadian.
is a fucking Canadian.
Silly country. Silliest country on earth.
Silly.
All right. Honorable mentions. I got a few in here. The first two, literally just because of March Madness. Loyola Chicago. I actually kind of like them. They got the script. They got the script. I feel like maroon and gold kind of works. Florida Gulf Coast. There's nothing.
I love that.
There's nothing great about the jersey. It's Dunk City, baby. Dunk City, baby. Like,
dude, their run was one of the best. I think that run
was fucking fun. That's the thing.
When you go, they were like a school, like, I think, what was it? Deke, you might be able to help me out with this one, but I think it was like 2006 when George Mason went on a run to the
Final Four. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, it was like they were a school like that who not
only
were
they 15 seed?
Yeah, I think so, right? They were 14.
I
thought
they were
13.
16. They were who? Florida Gulf Coast?
No,
Florida Gulf Coast. Yeah, Florida Gulf Coast.
I think they were 15. I think they were.
Was
15.
it? Yeah, dude. They like literally. It was exactly what I wanted from the Clippers all those years in the playoffs, but it was happening for a team that I didn't even know was a real college.
Well, and it's like they were just such a fun team to root for. That not only because there has been Cinderella teams that are very fundamental and kind of boring to watch, and they just get to where they're going. They were exciting.
Dude,
like that was exciting
fucking
basketball to watch.
Like, it was fucking awesome. I mean, and the colors are kind of cool too, but like the jersey itself it's fine, but it was the run. Like, I remember thinking that entire tournament, like, how far can these motherfuckers go? Because, I mean,
right.
They weren't on, like, Loyola was on some people's radar. Like I said, I listened to Pat McAfee when I had them going to the Elite Eight. That's the only reason why I had them going that far. Florida Gulf Coast, who the fuck was picking Florida Gulf Coast?
Nobody.
Fucking
no one.
Fucking
Dickie V.
Literally, though.
All right, so Smalls, I want to see you power through this last honorable mention because I know that you were a quote-unquote Pitt basketball fan, but I know that your Penn State roots are probably. Are
you ever going to let them live that down, Ben? Because that's kind of big news.
Oh, of course not. Are you kidding? Who do you think I am? I'm never letting that go away.
Fair.
But because you are such a Penn State man, I'm surprised that you threw in this third and final jersey.
So, I've talked about this before. For years, the Big Ten was trying to make Penn State and Michigan State rivals. I don't give a fuck about Michigan State. I really don't. Like, not only that, I don't give a fuck about Michigan State basketball because Penn State basketball has been irrelevant for every year except for 2 out of the last, 20. So, I don't give a shit about Michigan State basketball. If anything, I think they have one of the better looks in college basketball, if I'm being honest. And this is why I threw this in here.
There's a lot of shit that Smalls is pumping out tonight that I'm extremely surprised to hear. This
isn't all opening. This episode's going to cost money. You got to get the gold membership of the Vault to get this episode because Smalls go as in-depth in his past.
Dude, I don't give a Michigan State is so fucking, irrelevant. I don't give a shit about Michigan State.
Well, so they've only, really, you look at, they've had Magic and...
who was the white bald dude in 2005 that was a point guard that was just I forget his fucking name, but
they had I don't remember.
It's Drew something. I guarantee.
I can't remember.
Dude,
I know Denzel Valentine or whatever.
Drew.
Denzel Valentine, who's in the league. Miles Bridges, who's in the league.
Dude, Drew Neitzel.
Wow.
Neitzel. Hey, best name of all time. Former forward for West Virginia. Kevin Pittsnoggle. If you guys remember that name or know who the fuck I'm talking about. Kevin Pittsnoggle, that is the worst and best name to happen in sports.
Dude, I just remember this guy because he was the whitest man of all time. He was a fucking ghost.
Oh, yeah.
He was
that
a ghost.
Adds up.
But, no, I mean Draymond Green, too. So, they had...
Draymond, yeah.
So, I mean, they had some dudes.
Oh, yeah.
They had some dudes.
Sorry about
that. But yeah, I liked, again, it's a script. It's the old-fashioned script. So, I had to throw it in. Now we're on to submission of the week. Like we try
Attaboy Dre. Attaboy Dre.
Like we try to do every week. We want you guys to reach out. Tell us exactly what you want to see on the show for that week for a chance to be featured. So, this week,
2 Pitt jerseys. Smalls' favorite team this week. Just throwing that out there.
Hey, look at me and Smalls, just 2 Pitt basketball fans hanging out.
What can
I think
say?
that you can say Pitt fans. Just 2 Pitt
Hold
fans.
on, let's just calm down here. All right,
Yeah,
everyone, just calm down.
Big old Pitt fans.
Calm down. This is like the golden era of Pitt basketball, though. Levance Fields with this fucking goofy ass, like over the head shot. Who else we got in there? Is that Sam Young?
It's Sam Young and then DeJuan Blair.
That's DeJuan, yeah.
Yep. And like again, I don't really know. It like the jerseys are cool. They're fine. I think it's more like the era where it was like this was Pitt basketball. Like the run that Jamie Dixon had in the Big East tournament every year.
Awesome.
Unbelievable. No, he
was underappreciated, I feel like, even with all that success.
It was because he didn't do anything in March Madness. That's why.
Fair. Totally fair.
But at the same point, where were we before him? Yep. And where are we now after him? Now, granted, I do like Jeff Capel a lot.
Where's TCU?
With Coach K. This year, I'm
not
sure
like being a jerk, but just asking.
No, I think they're relevant this year, but he's made the tournament with them. Like his first 4 years he was there, They went to the tournament. So, I mean, he's done pretty well. It's just, it seems like when he gets that roadblock, that's where things fall to shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, with Pitt, he gave them probably our best era in a very long time.
Yep.
And I do like Jeff Capel because he's a disciple of Coach K. But I just think that he needs more talent there. And it's hard to recruit. You know, when kids are getting recruited out to UCLA and North Carolina and Duke and places like this that either have better scenery or better history in the program. But this is what got people to want to start coming to Pitt was this era. So I think that it's more about the nostalgia, not so much the design. But I love this submission from Dre.
Yeah. Yeah. The Pitt color, this is like, these Pitt colors are pretty bad. I feel like Pitt fans for the most part kind of agree with that, and I could be wrong, but like the navy blue with like the shit gold, I feel like is like.
Hey, let's go back to when you were a Pitt fan like 30 seconds ago.
I wasn't saying I was a fan of the colors.
Has
bro.
always been a Pitt fan, Ben.
Pitt basketball.
Not 30 seconds ago, till the day he dies.
Fan.
Verbatim. He also said that Pitt is the greatest school in the country.
Hey, LeBron James fans were at one point Heat fans, Smalls.
I thought I made it really fucking clear.
That you're a Pitt fan. Woo!
Pitt basketball. Pitt basketball.
Well, you're saying that you made it clear, but it's pretty foggy over here with all this fucking Pitt fanhood just radiating off.
Jesus. I'm about to get red in the fucking face over here. All right. Fellas.
Oh, good. It'll bring out your eyes.
What, my blue eyes? Red and blue?
Yeah.
Red, white, and blue?
Yeah, exactly. The American dream.
Deke, it was great having you on. It's been a long
something.
It's been a long time coming. Did you have fun on this train wreck of a show that we put together every week?
Honestly, it's an absolute blast. So thank you guys. But it's so much fun to be on this side of things where I find myself every week on like rankings, court and shit. Because it's like I don't have to be, the host like on Two Beers Deep or Idiot Hour, things like that, or Boondock Bangarang in the term with Josh. So it's nice to be the guest on something for once. So I adore it. I'll be back anytime you guys need me. Will have me. I'm excited to see what other guests you guys have on here and where this show goes. And honestly, I'm just so super happy to have you on board the Pitt fan wagon, Smalls. It feels good to finally get
Welcome, buddy.
Here with us.
Welcome
there it is,
home.
ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome home.
And Ben, do me a favor. If magically I forget and he doesn't clip any of his Pitt fandom for social media, let me know.
I have to. I'll be fair.
No, you guys are absolutely killing it. Please keep going. Please never stop. It's the number one mantra I can pound into your brains is just absolutely keep going. It'll be the things that we look back on and be like, oh shit, remember when I did that? And when we're all laughing on our yacht, smashing champagne bottles off the side of it with thought. The yacht will be called Thoughts from the Bench. Maybe the yacht.
Well, hey, I am very looking forward to that day, and I'm very thankful that you came on to the show. It's awesome, I think, because me and Smalls, we talk every week, and it's cool that other people want to be a part of that conversation. We want to have this conversation every week. That's why we do it. That's why we do the vault. But the fact that you also were excited to be a part of it is awesome. And we would love to have you back.
Yep. Now, just one more question. Are you proud of us, Papa?
I don't need the leather belt is how I'll word it. No, of course, you guys absolutely kill it. The one thing that I'm excited for this show especially is that the next initiative to give a little of future thoughts in the bench that I've actually never said on other shows. So this is an exclusive.
Hey, tune in. Hey, everyone. Hey.
No, this is an exclusive. It feels very heavily aligned with basically, I try to like mimic people that are doing things very well. And one of the things that has done well in the human society is the Marvel Universe by Jon Favreau, and creating a universe of things with legitimized phases and steps. And the Twitch phase is completely set in stone, ready to go. The next phase of Thoughts on the Bench is the YouTube phase, and this show is going to lead the charge on that. So I have, ideas and concepts for, and I'm excited for this show because I think even this show in itself is the perfect show, and you two are the two perfect guys to start leading the concept of not live concepts, which like we were able to pause tonight. We're able to have this casual conversation. There's no time limit. There's not, we don't need to read comments. I think this is such a different concept that is not as appreciated by some of our fans as the live shows, when this, in my mind, I think is harder because 9 times out of 10, my takes come from what people are saying in the chat. I think sitting here for about 2 hours and just discussing, a concept without anyone else intervening is much harder. So this show is absolutely going to be shot to the forefront of Thoughts on the Bench. I think you guys are absolutely killing it. I'm 100% very proud. I 100% think that you two are capable of running this show as long and as far and as glorious and as high as you guys want it to go. So thank you for having me, and I'm super geeked to see what happens.
Yep. I mean,
all right, Smalls, clip that, and then I'm going to play it as motivation for me every day when I wake up.
Alarm clock.
I'm about to run through a fucking wall. Let's go. Let's go. Well, no, dude, I mean, I'm just glad that you greenlit the show because me and Ben have talked about it every week. This is what we look forward to. Not even kidding.
Absolutely.
I wake up on, I mean, it's changed the day of the week that we record now, but like whatever day we're recording, I'm like, let's go. Like it's game day.
If I can give you guys one bit of actual advice that it was a video I watched in high school, and you both know it very well. Every day in high school, we woke up and there was either A, practice, or B, a game. That was it. Every single day growing up, and you look at your life in a bunch of different realms and a bunch of different stages and phases, or however you want to look at it. But the moment of preparation basically goes from every single day to far and few between as you get older. There are certain days like waking up and having your name called on senior night is the exact same amount of energy you get when you have your first child, when you're at your wedding, all those things. So there's back as a kid, it's every Friday, it's every Wednesday, it's when you're playing. As you become an adult, it's much harder to find moments to motivate you to the fullest capacity of your ability. Every single day I wake up not looking forward to, I do love my job and I love, my clients and things like that. But I'm like, oh, tonight is idiot hour. Okay. All right, tonight is rankings court. So creating those moments in the form of something you appreciate is 100% the key to loving life. And the fact that you guys still wake up and go, oh my God, the vault's tonight. Like I'm so geeked. Those are those little moments that you need to recreate in other facets of your life to continue to be motivated to do it. Because I try to tell you guys all the time, dude, it's so easy to get burnt out in this shit. And it's like, oh, I got to do this, or, oh, I started making TikTok, so I have to make more. Oh, I did stand up once and I have to continue to do it. There's nobody's telling you what to do in your life. If you need a week off, take a fucking week off. But the fact that you guys wake up and you're geeked about this concept is why I completely put this in the hands of two people I fully trust and I'm so proud of.
Yep. So
everyone, welcome to Derek's TED Talk.
So
I'll keep going for another 3 hours.
You started talking about a video that you had watched in high school. That just brought me. I thought you were going to talk about Bob Wright's Flying V.
The fucking geese. Oh man.
I'm not gonna go into it because I doubt anyone in the audience is gonna know.
Oh, they would like to know. They would probably like to know. But no, it's the video was a coach explaining what those moments mean. That video probably is the one I should have mentioned.
Bottom line, it's animatronic geese with this weird background. While someone is giving you a motivational speech of togetherness and being teammates and brothers, and you fly together, and it's like this close up of geese just like just fucking flying and shit, like for no reason. And our coach is standing there with his short shorts on and his t-shirt tucked into them, with his leg up on a chair, bulge, staring me in the eye while telling us that this is what we need to take into every game day. And it was remarkable, absolutely remarkable.
Oh my god, that might have been the highlight of my high school career. Honestly.
Hey,
awesome.
I will give him credit for this. He showed up and filled out the forms.
Oh.
That
is true.
Hey, there was a time where no one else wanted to touch that team.
Yep.
So as much as we joke about him, he was the man that actually put that team together. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he was an interesting human, and I fully believe that he played that video for every single team he ever had.
Yeah. So, hey, Bob, if you ever actually figured out how to get a computer to work and you're watching this,
can Bob be the next guest if I find him?
Absolutely.
We'll have him on.
I would fucking love that.
We'll have him on.
I would never have a better time in my life than having Bob Wright on this show. That is,
I feel like actually, I honestly, like, based on how I knew him outside of soccer, I think he would actually enjoy it.
Oh, I think he would too. I think
he'd
kill it. I think he would kill it.
He'd do a lot of he'd do a lot of that.
But I think he's a guy that appreciates you two still to this day knowing his name. And like, as much as like, yes, different iterations of coaches, like I've had coaches that have played professionally. I've had coaches that have played D1. I've had coaches that have had levels of experience. I will admit that there are things that I was taught in Kiski soccer outside of playing soccer. Like Mr. Wright, for some weird reason, was at the field lining it, even though I thought we had line. I don't know. It was this thing. When I was learning to get my driver's permit with my mom, we drove to the intermediate school and I was getting my learner's permit and he was lining the fields and he was like up there in his car and he's like, "Oh, that's so awesome. Like, congratulations." And I'm like, is this awkward? Like, I don't know what awkward is at this stage of my life, but I feel like this is awkward, but it's also really cool for him to know that.
Yeah.
No, and I think Bob Wright was a good dude. I butted heads with him as a coach, obviously.
Well, his only mistake was putting balls in front of me at net. Shout out to Ballish, but I was better. So
no, I think our personalities clashed.
No,
with me being a 14 through by the time he left 17-year-old kid and him being old, that. And like his way of thinking and my way of thinking, that especially like really up until my senior year, I didn't actually take soccer seriously. It was all my friends are here and I'm going to see who I can make laugh and how angry I can make the old stooge up there. And like, he was like, "Well, I hate that fucking kid," until I became an adult. And then, anytime I've seen him.
Did you get that vibe that he was like being a jackass or anything?
Yes.
You're supposed to go to my fucking defense here, pal.
Breaking down Benny Bucket's soccer career.
Listen, all in all, I think that, everyone's got coaches or even teachers per se that I think that like you may have had your differences with, but you appreciate looking back. Yep. You know what I mean? And I think, sure. and it wasn't even for the reasons that a lot of people would think for a coach, but Bob was like, I could have had way worse. Is what I'm saying.
This is the second week in a row where we have reverted to talking about our high school soccer careers. So I don't know if people will like.
I can whip out my 2 NAIA championship rings if you want to talk about my college career.
Well, at least you played.
That is true. Yeah,
for one season.
At least you have a championship ring of something that you participated in as an athlete.
Is NAIA considered Division I?
It is, because there's one division. Hear me out. Hold on. It's like hold on. It's hold on. So it's a running joke on Tubers Deep that I am a Division I athlete because there's the NCAA and then there's the NAIA. They're two separate entities. So like Carson Wentz still played in the NCAA, right? Even though he played in FBS versus FCS.
So what you're saying is you're a better athlete than Carson Wentz.
So hear me out, obviously. But two, the thing about NAIA, the international rules, much more lax. We had a kid on my team, my captain, Jaunty, who played for Burnley.
And Jaunty coached me at Foothills.
Yeah, he was okay. So watching this, like him and I now have the same bodies as when he was elite. I have never seen someone and been so sure they were bad at something, and they then became the best. Smalls, when I tell you that I think on a very real level, I think he is the greatest soccer player I've ever played with.
I don't doubt that. Yeah.
And Ben, he had the same body type as me, and he ran center mid, but he never took a single sub, and he was the most mentally prepared athlete I've ever been friends with, and I'm still to this day friends with this guy. But it was amazing.
I will admit I'm a little taken aback because you and I did play in an alumni game together, so that hurts me a little bit. But other than that,
I thought you were going to finish that sentence with Stefan Lundberg, in which case I would have gave an actual argument, but.
Well, yeah, you don't need one with me because it's an easy answer. But no, I think like you grow to respect people that to the eye seem like they should not be able to do what they're doing, and whether that be by size, height, weight, whatever.
Yep.
It is something that like if you look at someone and your immediate instinct is no. And they prove you wrong,
right?
That's something that impresses you even further.
What if I told you though that this guy was British?
That would make perfect sense.
Would that sway your opinion?
I think it was Barnsley. Now that I think about it,
you don't even know. You don't know.
It's Burnley or Barnsley. Listen, Ben, as a D1 athlete, I have very.
Dude, you might as well play for Millwall. Jesus
It is
Christ.
a running joke on 2 Beers Deep, though, that I am a Division I athlete because, yes, NAIA has one division, and it's one. So,
well, where I was going with that is it sucks that you had to go to that wedding because you would have been the first D1 athlete on the show, and we actually had like an elite goalkeeper on the last
where'd
one.
he play?
Pitt.
Never heard of it.
They're like the number one program in the country right now.
Right now, and then
That's
he
true,
also
yeah.
played at Westchester too, correct?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
Is that a school? I'm not being ignorant. I'm actually asking.
Yeah, it is a school.
I don't know. What's his high school?
He went to East Allegheny, and we
Yeah.
And we did talk about that because he's like, yeah, it was bad. He was like by far the best player on the field, and he was a net.
Well, I want to bring one thing. Will, is it?
Yeah.
So he looks physically fit and stuff.
Are you gonna talk shit on our sponsor, bro?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say, Will, for a video, I'd like to challenge him to a PK shootout. He's in Pittsburgh.
Hey,
I'm in
folks, you
Pittsburgh.
heard it here first.
I'm super chubby. He looks super fit. I haven't played soccer in 3 years organized. I'm ready, Will.
And I will ref it. I also have experience reffing a
Wait,
field goal
Smalls, shouldn't we have
competition.
Ben kick the balls or no?
Yes.
No, he should. No, Small should. He was the better soccer player.
Well,
and
the
I'll
difference
ref.
here is that if we have Smalls do it, we won't be able to do the video till 2047 when he moves back home.
Yeah.
Well,
I would say so. Here,
kick.
what if we did a an entire thoughts on the bench PK shootout video where Will and I were the goalies? I mean, I would absolutely.